This footage is so great. Pro Bowl wide receiver, three-time Super Bowl champion, three-time Hall of Fame father to Max, Dylan, Luke, and Christian, Mr. Ed McCaffrey. A pleasure to have you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show, Kay.
Thank you for being here. How did the McCaffreys take in a day of football? Both the boys are playing big, meaningful games. I'm sure mustard's involved?
Yes, it is. Thank you. You have the Chipotle in your hand, but we also have yellow and our pride and joy spicy brown mustard and horseradish sauce, which should come in handy for the holidays. But right now, I'm just kind of soaking in how you converted all that VHS tape into digital to play it on this call. So I appreciate it. Give the team my thank you for all the effort it took to do that. But, you know, today's a tough one. I feel like someone reached their hand in my chest and pulled out my heart. Obviously, Christian got hurt yesterday, and it was devastating. So every game is different. Every day after the game is different. And, you know, when tragedy strikes, you never really get over it. You never forget about it, but you do get through it. And that's what Christian will do. And that's what Lisa and I will do. And Max and Dylan and Luke. And so he's a tough kid. And I don't know that there's anyone on the planet that spends more time trying to get ready to do what he loves to do, which is play football. He wants so badly to be out there for his teammates and his team and the fans. And so it was tragic. It was a hard night last night and a difficult morning this morning. And any parent on the planet who has a kid knows how it feels when things don't go well for their son. But Christian's tough. He'll bounce back. You know, you feel angry and confused and you grieve a little bit. And then you go back towards getting healthy again and getting back on the saddle one day. So that's where his emphasis is right now.
He's dealt with adversity before. Is it different now, just the state of the Niners, how they are, what people are saying about the window that they have at his age with playing for? Is this injury different for him? Is it hitting him differently?
Oh, you know, I think, you know, there's things in your life that you can control, your attitude, your effort, your preparation, the passion with which you play and approach the game. And there's things in football that you can't control. And unfortunately, you know, the injury bug's not one of them. It's not a matter of if, right? It's just a matter of when in the NFL. And 25 years from now, none of these guys will be playing anymore. It'll be a whole new batch of athletes that we're watching, or modern day gladiators that are taking the field and put their bodies and their health on the line. And we love watching them and we respect them so much. And I respect the players in the NFL for what they do to be able to perform at such a high level. And I respect Christian and love him so much, so proud of him for all that he does to be the best that he can be. And so when tragedy strikes, it is difficult. It's never easy. You know, I never minimize it. You know, we deal with it, and you just try to get back as quickly as you can to be there for your teammates. You know, some years you're the best player in the league, and some years just aren't your years or your days or your weeks or your months. And it's part of the deal. I think that's one of the reasons we love sports. We see players do great things, you know, have injury, fall down, work really hard to get back up just to do it all over again. So that's what he'll be doing. And, you know, as a dad, I love him and I'm here for him. And so is Lisa and his brothers. Thank goodness he has a good support group, great trainers out there in San Francisco. But it sucks. I mean, there's no way around it. When you're an NFL player and your life revolves around the thing that you love to do, which is play football, and you're not able to do that, it sucks.
He looked so great out there. I was so happy for him. Like he was ripping off those runs. He looked as healthy as he's looked all season. And then that happens. When you're watching it happen, and then he leaves the field, who does he call first, you or Lisa?
Well, we jumped on a call from the locker room. We were both on the call and talked to him, and just to find out what was going on, because we weren't really sure. And, you know, it's so tough, right, as a parent, because, you know, you see your son go down, and then they cut to a commercial and you're not sure what happens. Or they start making jokes about people throwing snowballs and all the fun they had making snow angels. And all you can think of is my son just got walked back to the locker room. He's in the x-ray room. What's going on? And it is tough. It's tough when someone you love goes through that, and life goes on. It reminds you life goes on so fast. You know, things are going great 1 second, because he was feeling burst. He was looking good again. He's running over some people. It looks like it was going to be a great day. And just like, you know, that it can be taken from you. So it was rough, but Lisa and I were both on the call with him. And it just, you know, as a parent, it felt so good to hear his voice. I'm glad we were able to get on the phone to find out what happens, because it's tough when you read something on Twitter or a friend calls you to try to tell you what's going on with your own son. And they might know before you do. So I was glad we got on the call with him, and he's so strong, and he has been through it before. And it's tough. It's a tough break for him, but he's very blessed, and he's very strong and very determined. So he will be back. And thank you to everyone for all the well wishes. We have so many wonderful people that have wished us well and wished him well. So thanks for your thoughts and your prayers. He will do everything he possibly can to get back after it soon.
What's the injury?
He has a PCL strain, so he'll get an MRI today.
Okay.
And hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully it's not too serious, and it's something he can bounce back from pretty quickly. But again, he's been through it before. You play long enough in the NFL, you've dealt with an injury, you know the drill. It's not fun. First one up in the morning, last one to leave, getting treatment and rehab, and then not being able to take the field with your teammates, which is what you really love to do. But he will do it. He'll do everything he can to get back on the field as quickly as possible, as healthy as possible. And so that's life of an NFL player.
Yeah, you're an NFL player and you're a dad, and there's this idea that if they fall out of contention, I mean, it's a tight race. They still could very much have their way in the NFC West. But if they fall out of contention and he's healthy, is there anything that would keep him off the field, even if they're not playing for anything? Or do you sort of have to say, like, why don't we sit this one out? Like I'd like to see the team do with Fred Warner and other injured guys to keep everybody okay for then it's like a tough sort of balance. What do you do in that situation? Which way do you lean?
Well, I've always thought that you're a professional football player and you're getting paid to play. So if you're healthy enough to play, you play, whether you're going to the playoffs or not. Now, I think the general manager and the head coach, the head coach wants to win games. Kyle Shanahan wants to win games. So he wants every player that's healthy on the field at all times. It means a lot. They put a lot of time and effort into this game. And so if you're healthy, you play. General managers may have a different idea. They look long-term. Players and coaches look short-term. They just want to get on the field. They want to coach. They want to play. So if he's ready to go, he will go. And he's going to do everything he can to get ready. And hopefully the team can win a few more games in his absence. But, right now, the tough part's not knowing. I don't even know how serious the injury is or how long it will take to recover. But so that'll be a good problem to have, Kay. We hope we're deciding whether to play or not, or whether or not he can physically play. If so, we will.
Good problem to have. I'm praying for him, so make sure he knows that everybody loves him. Like nobody wants to win more than Christian McCaffrey, and I'm glad we'll get him back in position to do that sort of soon. You mentioned Kyle Shanahan. There is so much just venom towards Kyle Shanahan. Let's fire him. Let's hot seat him. How do you feel about that?
Gosh, I know how much time and effort he puts into it, and it's wild when you're going to, back-to-back NFC championships, going to the Super Bowl. Not too many coaches can lead their teams to a Super Bowl. He's done it a couple different times and was one of the most heralded and, complimented coaches in the league for the last several years. Look, I look at it like it's a chess match, right? If you play the game of chess and all of a sudden someone takes a couple of your rooks and your knights and you're playing against other very good competition without all your pieces, it's difficult. It's difficult to win in the NFL. There's so much parity. He's done it for a long time. He's had incredible success. Anybody that knows football knows he's an incredible football mind, and he does everything he needs to do to prepare his team to get on the field and win. But winning isn't always easy, and it's certainly not guaranteed. And we know it's the nature of the beast. I'm on a text with friends about other football teams that aren't even in the NFL. And most of my friends, they like to complain about the coach and bitch about the ref. And then, talk about like they know football. And a couple times I'll chime in with some actual good analytics, and they're like, Ed, we just want to complain about the refs. And,
just let us complain.
Yeah. So like fans are venting their frustrations, but anybody that knows the game, other coaches in this league know how brilliant Kyle Shanahan is. He knows every responsibility of every player on the field at all times. And he does an incredible job of preparing himself and his team, and he pours his life into this sport. So I have the utmost respect in the world for Kyle. He's done things not a lot of coaches have been able to do. This year, the ball hasn't bounced his way.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's the first one to point a finger at himself too. And I respect that about him. He's like, look, I got to get better. But realistically, you see a team and they start losing all of their key players. And I could name 15 of them that have missed time. Trent Williams didn't play. He's a Hall of Famer. Brock Purdy missed last week. Bosa didn't play. Unfortunately, they've missed players because of deaths in families, and players since before the Greenlaw hasn't even come back yet. So like people want to compare them to a team that was in the Super Bowl last year. Every team's different. Every year's different. And they've had some hurdles. That doesn't mean that they don't plan on winning next week. And whoever takes the field will go back to the drawing board this week and work hard to get better. Kyle will go back to the drawing board and work hard to get better. But it sometimes is hurtful when you do see people criticize someone that's pouring their life into what they're doing and are incredibly talented and gifted at doing it.
I like the way you put it, that the ball's not bouncing his way. That's when I watch. I'm like, everything's just. It's the luck of it. There's these moments that just are not going the way of the Niners, injuries included, things happening to Ricky Pierce. Like, it's just been a weird year like that. But we have to, it's hard to win in the NFL. And it's nice to hear you have such faith in Shanahan, because I think you speak as a football player who knows the innards of the organization, how that team actually feels about their head coach. If you'll allow me, I know it was a tough night, but you got to watch Josh Allen. And he is the MVP frontrunner. I'm watching him knowing you're coming on the show. He's got the arm, he's got the diving, the running all over the place. Do you see any, maybe even just stylistically, is there any Elway in Allen's game?
Yeah, when I was watching that play, I'm thinking, wow, what an amazing feat. I think I know someone who did that. Christian did that a couple of years ago. He wasn't a quarterback, but he did run, throw, and catch for a touchdown, which has only been done a couple times in history. And so, in that moment, just so you can have my perspective, because everyone has a different perspective. My perspective is, wow, life goes on without you. And that, wow, all I can think of is that Christian's back in the locker room right now getting it. So that's really all I could think of. I almost turned the game on, but I do care about Coach Shanahan and the players and the parents who are friends with. So I watched it. But regarding Josh Allen, he's a phenomenal talent. He's got toughness, a will to win, and he's obviously incredibly talented. So, it was an amazing play. It was not the smartest play in the world, to tell you the truth, to pitch the ball in the snow. But when it worked, it makes the highlight reel. And, I think the quarterback's such an important position. And they got a good one in Buffalo.
They do. You've got another son, of course, playing for the Commanders, who look incredible culturally. They're obviously, they had a bit of a lull, but they pick up a huge win yesterday. Jayden Daniels with 4 total touchdowns, completing over 80% of his passes. When you watch those games, let's just start with the Jayden, since we're talking quarterbacks here. What are you most impressed by as far as improvement from week 1 to now?
He is very cool, calm, and collected, and he's calculated. I didn't know what to expect when I watched him live, but in the beginning of the season, you could tell he was getting used to the speed of the game. He was getting used to going through his progressions. He was getting used to the talent that he had around him. He was getting used to the new system, which he was in for the first time. I think Cliff Kingsbury's done a good job of putting him in a position to utilize his talents. He's such a dual threat. He can run. He is really fast, and he makes it look effortless. He's like, runs like a deer out there, picking up a lot of first downs with his feet. But he is very methodical with how he goes through his progressions, and is incredibly accurate with the football. And he has gotten better and better, in my opinion, throwing the ball over the middle of the field, finding openings and zones, identifying man-to-man matchups. And he's got a great receiver in Terry McLaurin, who he's really been clicking with this year. They've got a good run game. He gets them in and out of those runs appropriately. So he's taken great command of the offense, and he's grown within the offense while he gets used to the system and to the teammates that he's got around him. What a phenomenal year he's having.
And Luke, what a play yesterday. Can you talk me through this? It's the 4th down conversion. It's the 4th quarter. It stops any hopes of a Titans comeback.
Yeah, no, that was a big catch for Luke. He's out there competing his tail off for playing time, playing offense, special teams, whatever he can do. He has such a great attitude. I'm so proud of him because he loves football. And I'm glad what a great play for him. What a great play for the team. But what a great year to be part of the Washington Commanders. You get to come in with Jayden Daniels, with Dan Quinn, who is, I know that word culture is so slippery and hard to define, but Dan Quinn has created it because his players love him. They play for each other. And it feels like a new era there in Washington. The fans can feel it. The players can feel it. You feel it in the building. Just guys believing in each other and playing hard for each other. I think that starts with the ownership group through the head coach, GM, and then all the players on the field. But the quarterback kind of links everybody together. And so Luke gets to come in with Jayden Daniels in his first year and hopefully continue to grow within that system and on that team.
What's it like hearing Luke chants after every catch? I hear that there's Luke, Luke, Luke. It's really cool.
That was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. The first time they did it, it shocked me a little bit. I didn't realize it, but Luke is he's a scrapper, man. He's the youngest of 4 brothers, and he holds his own in our household. So I'm happy for him, and he's working really hard. And it was good to see them get a win. They get a couple more. They're going to do something that Washington hasn't done in a few years, which is go to the playoffs.
Yeah, unless they lose Cliff Kingsbury, and he becomes the head coach of a team like the Bears, which is what we're hearing. How would you feel about that?
Well, hopefully that's not happening this season, but he's done a phenomenal job. Look, you get it when coaches have incredible success, especially I think when coaches have success with a rookie quarterback. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for them, just like there's opportunities for players. But I don't think they're thinking all that much about that right now. I think they have a good thing going. They're coming off a big-time win, and they want to do something that hasn't been done for a while with the Washington Commanders, which is win a couple more games, get to the playoffs, and finish out this season. And that's a topic for after the year.
Your Broncos, my friend, are in prime time tonight. They can make the AFC playoff picture very interesting. I love this team. Bo Nix has been on fire. When you watch him, what stands out to you?
Well, I got to watch him at the Senior Bowl. Luke played in the Senior Bowl with Bo, and not just in the game, but throughout the week. And, I got feedback from Luke. He told me what a great leader he was. In the Senior Bowl, a lot of players have come from different systems, and, some of them have more verbiage than others. And he was one of the quarterbacks who had no problem, translating the play that the play caller was sending into him to the huddle. He had incredible command of the huddle. He was a leader, and he was incredibly accurate. Luke thought he raved about him after that Senior Bowl week. And then I've watched him, through the beginning of the season. I know he had a couple of interceptions early, but just like Jayden in Washington, it's the NFL. They're the best players in the world. You got to get used to the speed of the game. You got to get used to your teammates. You got to get used to the system. But man, has he thrived. Just like Jayden. Well, we're talking about 2 phenomenal rookie quarterbacks that are going to be up for Rookie of the Year this year. And I've watched both of them every week, and they've both grown and become better and more confident throughout the year. But it started with them having talent, being coachable, being great leaders, having this personality that is just magnetic to their teammates. And it's been really fun to watch Bo get better and better and better. Now the Broncos win 3 more games. They're in the playoffs as well. It's tough when Kansas City's in your division, but they have proved that they can play toe to toe with anyone and should have beat the Chiefs. Talk about the ball not really bouncing your way.
Yes.
And that, but I'm excited for him. He is the right quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and I think he's proven it.
Do you think one has the edge over the other in Rookie of the Year? Is that too hard of a question for Ed McCaffrey? Who would you pick if you had to vote now?
Yeah, they're both phenomenal. There's still games to play. We love talking about it, right? Just like on my group text chain, we love talking about it. MVP and who's going to win the Super Bowl. But realistically, so many things change in 1 week. Right. So it's the NFL, which it's so special because every game counts. So there's a lot of football to play. But I'll tell you what, I know the Washington Commanders are awfully excited about Jayden, and the Denver Broncos are really, really excited about Bo Nix.
Broncos 5.5-point favorites at home tonight. How do you see it going?
I see the Broncos winning. Big win for the Broncos.
Let's go with those 2. I mean, they're trying to fit the mold of the very tall wide receiver with these guys. You got Cortland, you got the rookie Vele. He's 6'5". This is the mold of 6'5" Ed McCaffrey.
Yeah, they have some pretty good players. I know that Sean Payton, if you paid attention to what he was doing in New Orleans for so long, with his offense, he believes in building a good offensive line, which he has done. The offensive line is playing at a very high level. He knows you got to protect your quarterback, and you got to be able to run the ball a little bit. And receivers play a part in that run game. Big receivers, a lot of times, are not afraid to dig out linebackers or safeties and help in any way that they can. And they're also big-time targets in the red zone and in certain down-the-distance situations. And Cortland Sutton has certainly proven to be that. What a year he's having. And, Bo's getting the protection he needs. They have balance on offense. He's making good decisions with the football. But, like last week, everyone stepped up. They had a bunch of guys step up and make plays. And I think that's the key to great teams that can win consistently, is not relying too much on one particular player or too much in one particular aspect of the game, whether it's running or passing. You have to have a little bit. got to spread the ball around, and it takes a quarterback to do that. So
Yeah.
I predict a big win, but look, there's a lot of talent in the NFL. Cleveland's beaten some teams this year. They have talent, and they're confident. So you still got to go out and do it, but I'm liking the Broncos' chances.
Love that. Give our best to Christian, to the whole family. And it was a tough, tough night. I appreciate you coming on the show. And everybody go. It's holiday times. Okay, McCaffreyBrands.com for the finest Rocky Mountain mustard and horseradish. This is Chipotle. There's all sorts of flavors. Ed's got it. I've got it. Happy holidays to you. And send our best to Christian.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed. We'll be back with